When you have a table with multiple columns, such as this one, for example, this is a assigned file faculty list. So we have columns such as employee number, classification, such as senior professor, senior lecturer, and so different types of classification. We have a department, and then we have annual salary. Some professors or instructors have over $60,000 or less or more, and so on. And then we have a primary schedule, secondary schedule, and advising hours. So we have a multiple table columns that we could use. So when we want to utilize, let's say, more than 2 or 3 columns to filter and sort, we want to have something more advanced or a little bit easier to work with. Of course, you can convert this range of cells into a table and then apply sort and filter and that sort of kind of things. Yes, that's easy, that's doable, but it's not quite visually clear once you apply very comprehensive and complex criteria for sorting and filtering and so on. As I said, it's doable, but it's not quite visible, and unless you do it, you don't necessarily easily understand what's actually going on. So to make it more transparent, you could create a criteria range and assign certain value to each criteria or criterion, and that criteria would be displayed, not only applied but displayed. Okay, so what do I mean? So let's start. So I have this table, and I'm going to borrow this column headings. So that will be, let's see, let me just borrow even more. I'm going to just copy this part, okay? But essentially what I need is duplicate of this. But since I have another title here, I'm going to just copy that. So Control C, and then go to cell A1 and paste it, and then Escape key to end the marching ants. And then I want to change the content of this title. And I'm looking at page number 333. This is activity 5.19, and it's about filtering by using advanced criteria. All right, so having said that, let's see, what do they want? They want to change that to criteria. So change the content of cell A1 to criteria. And notice that this word is chopped off, and also some column headings are not displaying correctly. So I'm going to highlight those 2 rows and then go to Home tab and Format and Auto Fit Row Heights so that it gets a little bit taller, so I can display both row and 1 and 2. So again, now I'm going to use this range of cells as a way to display the criteria as I apply the criteria onto this table. So that's the first thing. So this is a kind of a special setup or scheme that is kind of pre-packaged within Excel. So there's a certain procedure that you need to follow in order to utilize this criteria range. For that matter, it is also called criteria range, this area. So here, not only the column headings, but extra row, okay? And that in the extra row, then we'll put some values to apply the criteria. All right. So let's see. All right. Now I highlight. Click A1. Okay. I'm flipping the page here, and I'm looking at step number 5 on page number 334. So basically select from A1 through G3, and in the name box you give it a name, and here you need to use a name called criteria. So criteria is a reserved name. It means it is recognized by Excel with certain predefined properties. So this is one of the reserved names, or I guess it's a reserved names that you cannot use for other purposes. So it is only for criteria for the table. Okay, so you must spell it right. So CRITERIA. Otherwise, Excel would not recognize the whole scheme. And so it is name. Oh, hit the enter key first. So give it a name. So this range of cells from A2 through G3 is defined as criteria. So of course we are going to use this criteria range in terms of applying sorting and filtering into the table. So I don't think we have defined this range of cells into a table yet. So I'm going to select from A7, hold down the shift key, and then click G34. And then we are going to convert this range of cells into a table. There are different ways. You can use home and then format as table, but the textbook shows another way, which is insert, and then click on table, and just click on OK. We just leave the check mark for my table has headers, which is true. For example, employee number, classification, department, and so on. And visually confirm that you have the marching ends surrounding the range of cells, including the rows of professors and also the column headings. And make sure that you don't include assigned file city, faculty. Okay, go ahead and click on OK. Now it has converted into a table. You can see this sort and filter drop down tool here. That's the indication. And then we are going to, let's see. So let's take a look at the name manager. So under the formula tab, so formula tabs, and then you see name manager. So it could be in 2010, I think it's under define name, but here in 2013, there's a name manager here. And this is just a confirmation. Let's say criteria, let me just move up, no, let me just move this sheet up a little bit higher. All right, so let's go back, formulas and name manager. So we have two names of cells or a range of cells. First one is a criteria, and the value of that is here. You can see faculty of devising, that is the name of the tab, name of the sheet, and then here's a range of cells from A2, it's in absolute reference, but anyway it's A2, which is employee number, through G3, which is column G and the first blank row after the row of column headings. Alright, so that's set, and then let's take a look at table. And when you convert a range of cells into a table, Excel automatically assigns a name, and in this case it is table 1. You can kind of assume that the second range of cells that you convert into table will be named table 2, and then so on. So let's take a look at the range of cells here. So for the table 1, it's starting from, it's again same sheet, faculty of devising, and then from A8, which is that one right here, and then G34. So I am not sure if I did it right. Let's see. So that is incorrect. So I think it should be, so I'm going to edit it. I'm not sure why it is set as an A8 instead of an A7. So that's interesting. So okay, so edit table 1, this faculty, and click on the refers to, click that one. Okay, so I cannot edit it. Edit workbook. It's blocked. That's interesting. Maybe I'll just go ahead and let me just go ahead and do that and see if this one is okay. So let me just go ahead and click on OK, and I'll just mentally, I'll just put a note. Unfortunately, I cannot read the textbook. Alright, so let me just go ahead and see what happens. I think I did it right, but something's not really doesn't make a perfect sense. But anyway, let me just move on. And then, okay, so here we have criteria. So we have criterion 1, criteria 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can use any one or a combination of any one of these to apply filtering in this table. Remember, we are using criteria, so such as, let's say D3. So here's column D. So D3 is this one, and I'm going to provide criteria value. In this case, the criterion is annual salary, and that criterion's value would be, in this case, I'm going to put greater than or equal to 60,000. And make sure that I do not put a comma for thousands, because in Excel, commas and periods, dollar signs, and that sort of kind of things, they are just formatting. They're not actual value. So here, for example, here is a $70,000. the actual value is not $70, comma 000. The actual value is in the formula bar. It says 70,000. Okay, that's 70000. It's not comma. There's no comma. There's no $, but it shows as that. So when we compare the criteria between this and this, we need to make sure that we use just the value without any formatting. Okay, so now we are going to use advanced filtering. So go to data. So oopsie. All right, so go to data. And in the sort and filter group and click on advanced. So here is the thing. Here is the key. Here we are using filter the list in place. And then we are listing the list range. The range here is the table, which is, here is correctly marked. It's A7 through G34. Not G34. Okay. It is weird. It should be G34, but it shows E34. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And so click on that and click A7 through G34. That's interesting. Huh. Okay. So or I could have done just replace E to G, E with G. So let me just go ahead and do that, and then criteria range. So here's the deal. So what is the criteria range? We are using A through G, A2 through G3. So that's criteria. And click on OK. And now we have one criterion applied to this table. So let me just redo that because it was a little bit confusing and unclear. It worked out just fine, but it is a little bit different from the way textbook shows in terms of actual value. So let me just undo it. So again, the criterion value is the same, greater than or equal to $60,000. And then go to the data tab and then click on advanced. And for some reason it just selected the range, the list range. It just selected from A7, which is the first part, top left corner of the table, and E34, which is here, the evening, right? So it's not complete. It should be over here, G34. So here I'm going to just replace E, letter E, with letter G, right? So before, what I did was I clicked on this and then I highlighted the range of table and then went back by clicking on that icon, and it shows the table 1 all. It's okay, it's the same thing, but I'm going to change back to the cell references. And of course it is using absolute reference with $signs. All right, then criteria range, it is from A2, which is that one, through G3, which is that. So that's correct. So it includes the first row of criteria, and then second row, the row number 3 is the second row of the criteria. Oopsie. Okay, let me just, I accidentally clicked on something else. So it's row number 3 is actually the second row of this criteria range. So that's good. And then go ahead and click on OK. And then look at this. It selected or filtered only the professors with 60 or more annual salary. That's an annual. These are annual salaries. Okay, now we have just one criterion, but we can add more criteria. So let's see. I'm moving on to page number 336. What about? Let's say we can narrow it down a little bit more. So I want to see professors, only professors, not the instructors or any others. For example, I'm looking at, these are mostly senior professors, assistant professor, but I see one senior lecturer. So these are not professors. So I want to just display only the professors. So what can I do? Again, in the criteria range, I type in professor. So it'll pick up all the professors. However, I also need to use something called wildcard, which is represented with an asterisk. That's a star or asterisk. That's basically shift with number 8. So that's something called wildcard. It basically means whatever comes before professor, the word professor, is included. It's okay. So it could be, so this wildcard will pick up either senior professor or assistant professor or adjunct professor and so on. So asterisk will just take it in whatever, as long as the phrase ends with the word professor. Okay, so let's go back to data, go back to advanced, and make sure that the range of cells here is a A7, which is the top left corner of the table, and G34, which is the bottom right corner of the table, and the criteria range is A2 through G3. Yeah, so A through, so row number 2, row number 3, and then column A, column G. So that's good. So it's going to apply 2 conditions or 2 criteria, and only those professors or instructors that meet those 2 criteria will be displayed here. So what is the difference between this way and the other way? Would be without using criteria range, just use table and apply filters and sorts and that sort of kind of things. So that's, you can do that, but you will notice that they just show the outcome of sorting and filtering. They don't necessarily explain, at least visually, quite readily explain or show what the filtering or criteria has been. So this is a great tool to record and show or display what criteria have been applied in sorting and filtering. Okay, I hope this is helpful, and let me know if there is any more question.